All right, well, I'm sideways. Sorry,
That's
guys.
okay. That's fine.
That's all right, fine. That's usually how I see hockey players anyway, because I'm always on the floor. So
That's true, too.
And the home of the brave. Game on!
Welcome to episode 87 of the Hit the Deck podcast, where we talk deck hockey, street hockey, ball hockey. It's hockey in sneakers. And I know I say this from time to time, but James and I have got quite a show for you. We've got quite a guest for you. We have got a great show. And, you know, I don't have any reservations whatsoever about telling you that. I think you're going to enjoy it. I know James and I are very excited to be able to present it to you on a silver platter. And so this is going to be a good one. This is, you have my humble rhino oath that it's going to be a good one. And right here up at the top, one thing I do have reservations about, and I have to sincerely apologize to you, dear listener, was that James and I, well, it's Olympic time, and James and I, we had a fever. Those two things are mutually exclusive. It is the Olympics, and we were sick. So it's not. Yes, James and I were ill, terribly, terribly ill. I mean, not life-threatening or anything, but you know. Obviously, too ill to present you with a quality podcast, which is why we didn't last week. And it has nothing at all to do with us getting blitzed in celebration of our second birthday as a podcast. Right?
that would have been a good excuse.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't hungover. I don't know. I'm sorry. How are you, James?
I'm doing much
Have you
better.
sufficiently recovered?
I think I have, yes. At least it's good to have the voice back, because if you can't speak, it doesn't make for a good podcast.
Oh.
But we made up for it, I guarantee you, for this one. How are you feeling, sir?
I'm still feeling a little bit ragged, like I'm coughing, and I do feel a little bit of fatigue, more than usual. But on the whole, I am a lot better than I was this time last week. So I, applaud your suggestion of skipping the week, even though it pains me to have to do so. I think it probably was the best for both of us, and the listener got a chance to go back and check out the archives. So, win-win-win, I guess.
Yeah,
Plus,
and as we spoke about Georges Vezina, where the man literally pretty much almost dropped dead because he didn't want to come out of the game,
Mm-hmm.
I decided it would be better to pull the plug on last week's podcast for your sake, because, yeah, you'd do the podcast even if you were delirious and had 104 fever and whatever else. So I'd be very happy to. I take the blame for that, and I make no apologies for it either.
I would, and I bet my wife would agree with you. So that's, I guess, on behalf of my family, it's appreciated.
All right.
Although, if I was delirious with 104 fever, you can't say that wouldn't make for an entertaining show.
Maybe we're onto something.
I mean, considering some of the stuff that comes out of my mouth when I'm quote unquote healthy, if my brain was fried, I can't imagine where those conversations would go. It would be like Tangent City, USA.
But we try very hard to keep it as a family-friendly podcast, so maybe it's for the best.
I'm family friendly. All of my nonsense is G-rated.
That's true. That is true.
But okay. Alrighty. I did mention that it was our birthday, and you put it out on Twitter and on our Facebook page, and we appreciate all the warm well wishes and shares and likes that we got for that information that we put out there. So yes, this past week our podcast did turn 2. And, 2 years is, look, there's plenty of podcasts out there that have been doing this a lot longer than we have. And there's plenty of podcasts that have been doing it a lot less. with a lot larger listener base than we have. But I can honestly, and I definitively will speak on behalf of James here, maybe a little presumptuous, but I'm going to do it anyway. We are very proud of the body of work that we put out in this podcast, and we are incredibly grateful to you, our listeners, for sticking with us and helping Hit the Deck to be what it is. So I'm not going to make this a long, sappy thing, but we're happy with where we are. We'd love to grow, of course, but we're very happy with what we're doing, and we're very thankful for you for allowing us to do it. So, it's a group effort. Good job, team.
Yeah, it really does speak to the community of deck hockey, and really specific thank you to Jeremy Laws, which we'll get into that in the future, and our brand new best friend that we just interviewed, or we will be interviewing in this podcast too. And
don't
just really
give the game away, James.
Yeah, just opening up the door to a whole new world of deck hockey in this beautiful country of ours, the U.S., and even up north in Canada, where they know hockey better than anybody else in the world.
A new fantastic point of view. I'm not flying on a magic carpet, but if I did have that 104 fever, I might be.
So should we jump right into it?
That's probably a good idea. And in fact, we should probably introduce ourselves just so they know who is spewing this nonsense and who they can expect to hear from. So let's say we jump right into our starting lineup. Okay. And for tonight's starting lineup, in goal, as ever, I am number 35, your American Rhino, Gary McComiskey, and of course, my stupendous co-host.
On defense, number 4, I'm James Sajazi, and special guest with us tonight.
I'm Kevin Frost. I play defense, and I'm number 13.
Welcome, Kevin. We're very happy to have you on the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Big fan.
Well, thank you. I dare say likewise, because well, I can't speak for James, although given
yes, you can.
The research that I know he does and the conversations we've had about your league in preparation for this interview, I know that I think both of us really respect what you've done there in the Raleigh Street Hockey League as the person who runs it. And so we're glad to have you on the podcast, and we're excited for the opportunity to talk to you about the league.
Great. I appreciate it. Again, big fans of the podcast and big fan of the community of hockey and ball hockey itself. So it's a lot of fun to see you guys like you doing something like this and doing a podcast for it. I mean, the more you can spread the word about ball hockey, the better.
Yeah,
amen to that.
Thank you. And I'm going to stop you right there because we cannot wait to talk to you. But first, we have just a tiny bit of business to take care of, and for that, I shall rely, as ever, on James. James, could I impose on you to tell us what is on deck for this podcast?
I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
It's just one thing, Raleigh Street Hockey League. As you heard, the co-general manager of the RSHL, Mr. Kevin Frost, drops in to tell us all about his great deck league. Their website alone is impressive enough, and looking forward to hearing about the league itself. Yep, Mr. Jeremy Laws of the Columbus Deck Hockey Association gets the assist for initiating this interview too. And that's what's on deck.
Thank you, James.
You're welcome, sir.
And thank you, Kevin, for being on the podcast. We would love to pick your brain. So let's do that, shall we?
Sounds good.
Okay. All right, Mr. Frost, let's just jump right into this. North Carolina is a great state for sports, of course, it being the birthplace of NASCAR and pro wrestling royalty led by Ric Flair himself.
Woo!
But hockey, baseball, golf, and college basketball all flourish there too. So the first part of this question, sir, is how did you inherit the Raleigh Street Hockey League?
Well, the RSHL was started in 2001 by J.C. Rumblaw and a small group of guys. They played on an outdoor court. It was a place called the Rec Zone. It actually had a outdoor court outside. It was pretty beat up. There was some good cracks in there. You could get some good bumps off the ball and everything. But indoor was actually an ice hockey rink, and it's where the Carolina Hurricanes have been practicing for all these years. They redid it and renamed it, and unfortunately we lost that court too. But so they pretty much we started there. I wasn't there for the beginning of it. I moved to Raleigh from Massachusetts in 2007. I joined the league shortly after I came down. I actually hadn't even played ball hockey before, really. I was more of an ice hockey guy, and when I came down, I was looking to get back into hockey after some years, and I was looking around, and ice hockey is pretty expensive, and I found these guys. So after a few seasons of playing with them, I started my own team, and then I was helping out the league with the website, and I was helping out with tournaments for JC. And then he retired in 2012. He kind of started moving a little further and further away from Raleigh, made it a little more difficult. I think he's got like 8 kids or something like that at this point. So he was a busy man. So he turned the league over to me and Brian Hooks. So we actually co-run the league. Brian's a great guy. He takes care of the referees. He does the financing. And he actually organizes the traveling tournament team we have, Raleigh Thunder. So there's a lot to do in this operation, so it's great to really be able to split it up. I take care of the website. I do the scheduling. I take care of new players, new teams that come into the league. And we're kind of a self-run league, so we actually have players that help with reffing. They help with scorekeeping, and they do a lot of the social media stuff that you see us all on. So it's really a big community of all really dedicated ball hockey guys that make this league run. I mean, I understand that I'm kind of out there with my name out there, but it's certainly not me at all making the league run. I mean, guys like Brian Hooks have to, show up every week and ref for 6 hours. We got other players that ref for 6 hours. We actually have our great Facebook guy, Stan. His wife actually does a lot of the scorekeeping. So, my wife helps run the Ironman tournament that we have coming up. So it's just a great thing. It's a great group of people that do a bunch of stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much how I inherited. We started from a small group of guys playing, out on the outside little rink there. And now we're about 200 players. We're about 3 divisions. We got 13 teams total right now. So it's a lot of fun. It's grown big time.
You mentioned that he's out there reffing for 6 hours. Do you only play once a week, or do you break it up?
Yeah, we do league games one night a week, and then we do a pickup on a Thursday night. So we like to mash it all into one day. It's always Sunday evenings. It's always one day. It's consistent, and
Sure.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, that's fantastic. Like the saying says, it takes a village, but that's just a prime example of the deck hockey family that everybody's a part of. So really excellent job on all parts there. So is it a challenge to maintain the deck ball hockey league with so much of the competition as previously mentioned?
Most of the players from our league are transplants from other areas. So a lot of people from the Northeast that have come down. They've played deck hockey and ball hockey all their life, growing up as kids and adults. So it's really not hard. It's more, there's a lot more people seeking us out than us seeking out players. And I feel the people that come and seek us out kind of stick around more because they've already got a passion for the game. We do get a lot of new players that come in and try it out and enjoy it, but I think the majority is other people that already played. But we also get a lot of other people that cross over from sports. I mean, really, some of our best players also play ice hockey, and especially soccer. Soccer is pretty big down here, and lacrosse. And those guys cross over sports really, really well.
Yeah, I have my cousin plays with us occasionally, and he's a big soccer guy, and he hardly ever plays ball hockey. But when he does, he's really good because he can move the puck in very unique ways, and he can be all over the place, and just he has a great sense of positioning. So I can see how that crossover is there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you do need good footwork in deck hockey, so that's pretty cool, ball hockey. So the final part of this question is, minor league hockey has done so well in North Carolina since the late 50s, for people who may not know. And once the Hurricanes deservedly came to be in 1997, and I realize that you weren't there at the time, but how much of an influence do you think the Hurricanes and their especially 06 Cup have to do with the success of the RSHL, if at all?
Oh, I think it's huge. I think it really helped out. There's a lot of ice hockey rinks in the area because of the Hurricanes coming up. We have about 6, I would say, just in close proximity to the Raleigh area. We actually have a team made up from the Carolina Hurricanes staff. So they've had a team with us for about 10 years now.
Oh, wow.
They're on Twitter. They're a lot of fun to follow because I think their social media guys come in and kind of run their own Twitter accounts too. So they're a lot of fun to watch. But yeah, they're a great team and they've always been around. So, I mean, just right from that, the guys that literally work for the Carolina Hurricanes have a team with us.
I'm curious. I've seen some of your videos, and we'll get to that shortly, but I've seen some of the videos of your games, and I've noticed that there's a big Hurricanes banner there in the facility where you play. Are they associated at all with that facility, or is it just kind of a representing the home team sort of thing?
It's more representing the home team.
Okay, cool. And a little follow-up, do you still get to play with your running the league duties or co-running the league duties? Do you still get a chance to actually get out there and be on a team?
Of course, yeah. That's what makes it the most fun, is I do all this work so I can get out there and play. You know.
Which team are you on, just so you can rep your team?
I am the captain of the Lock Monsters. The Lock Monsters name originates because I'm from Lowell, Massachusetts, where the Carolina Hurricanes affiliate team, the Lock Monsters, were located for some time. I'm not sure when the exact years were, but they were there, and they used to hand out free tickets all the time. So me and my future wife used to go and watch them, have a blast, and we had some great nights watching those teams play. So when we moved down here, it seemed kind of fitting that I could name the team something that was a little bit Massachusetts and a little bit Raleigh.
Excellent.
Perfect.
I'm glad to hear that you're able to play, because that would be a real shame if you're allowing other people to have the fun of deck hockey meant prohibiting your own enjoyment of it. So that's great to hear.
No, sometimes I play too much, so I try to help out every team where I can, So if they need a sub, I'll jump in and help them play.
And it is a big league. There's a lot of teams. And, James and I we appreciate that you go to all the trouble to keep this thing going so a lot of people can have the opportunity to play. But what we really appreciate, what we really think is very cool, and how you stand out, your league stands out from the other ones, is the fact that you have a great website with lots of information and the YouTube channel, which features games of the week. So it features regular games played in the RSHL, and there's play-by-play, there's different camera angles, there's the scoreboard, replays. It's great production value. It's really, I've been watching a bunch of games just because I enjoy it. It's fun to watch. If you're a hockey fan, it's a great time. And I think the opportunity to play in a league like that is really a good way to kind of promote, if nothing else, to your friends and family, say, hey, this is what I'm, spending my time on. It's pretty cool.
Absolutely, yeah. The gentleman who does it, Daniel Wilson, he's a goalie in the league.
Oh, really?
And yeah, and I know you're obviously a goalie, and do some play-by-play, so maybe there's a common connection there. But yeah, I mean, he started filming some games a couple years ago when the GoPros came out. Some guys would show up on the rink and stick them on their helmets or stick them in the back of the nets. A lot of goalies were doing that to kind of watch their own play. They would stick it in the back of the net, and that way they could kind of critique their own goaltending during the game. But so he started filming them. It's grown from some simple footage. He had just a little camera, and he would sit in the penalty box, kind of scrolling side by side and doing the commentary. We started getting some GoPros to put them up on the two ends of the rink so you could get a little better coverage and get that real-time feel. We've really messed around with some different angles, trying to find some different ways to make it look great and how to really catch all the action. But yeah, now it's come a long way, and now it's a multi-camera big to do every week. He does a great job of it, and yeah, he does we call it the RSHL Game of the Week. Yeah, so he'll come down and we'll try to pick up. We'll try to get every team at least once during the season. Obviously, during the playoffs, we get, a little bit. We'll film maybe 2 games or something like that, and obviously do all 3 games for finals. But yeah, he's absolutely phenomenal doing it. It's a labor of love for him, just like your guys' podcast. I mean, he loves doing it, so he's out there every week. He's always doing new things to improve with the footage and the commentary. He's even asking us, each team, all right, so what do you want for your goal horn? Every time you score a goal, he'll put in our own special goal horn that we picked and stuff. So
yeah, there's a goal song for each team, I've noticed.
Yeah, exactly.
I assume all that's added in post, but
yes, yeah, we put all that stuff in.
But he does the commentary during the game.
Absolutely, that's 100% him live.
Okay,
and it's a lot of fun when you're sitting on the bench playing the game.
I'm sure.
And he'll get fired up on a great save or a great goal. And you can hear him screaming, going nuts in the penalty box. It's a lot of fun.
Does he also film? Is he also the cameraman? while it's going on, or does he have help with that?
No, he's the cameraman too. He's the one
All
panning
right.
side to side with his camera at center ice, and then he's got his little tablet that he can control the GoPro cameras to make sure they're running. I mean, he's also checking stats, live time, and all this stuff. So it's phenomenal the way to do it. It's really fun to watch him do it. Even during the game, as much as fun as it is to watch the game on YouTube. So
That's that's great. That's awesome. A lot of respect, like from one kind of production guy to another. There's a lot of respect there for what he's able to accomplish. I'm curious, is this the YouTube channel that you have now, the way you promote the games of the week and stuff? Was that a vision of yours from the beginning that you're finally able to realize, or is it just kind of a happy accident?
honestly, it's way better than I thought it would be, and it's come a long way. It's such a great way to watch the games if you can't be at the rink. If you miss your team's game for something, and you want to be like, well, what happened? I missed the game. Sorry. If you film that week, you can watch the game. And like you said, people are always commenting us like, hey, my family can watch the game. And my brothers and sisters, and parents can watch the game out of state because they couldn't make it. They could show like, hey, look, I'm legitimately playing hockey all the time. And, they could keep up with the games and everything. One of the great things I think about the channel too is it's a great way, not only to just share the videos, but it's a great way to archive all the games, all the championship games too. And like on our website, what I've tried to do on the website is really keep the history of the league and how many times teams have won it. We always take a team picture with the winning team, but now we're able to add a video, with that to say, well, here's the championship team and here's the actual game that you get to watch and say, oh, wow, 3-4 years ago, that game happened and that was awesome. So you can rewatch the championship winning games. I have to sheepishly admit that I've gone back and watched a couple of our own championship games. You gotta relive the glory days sometimes.
I think we all do. That's a common conceit, I think. I'm curious, have you found that there's been more interest in your league? Has it improved since you began streaming these games regularly, or has it just kind of stayed the same level?
No, I absolutely think it's become a lot better. It's easily accessible. I think one of the best ways that we've been able to utilize it is to, explain what we do. Because a lot of people that don't know about deck hockey or ball hockey, they don't understand that it's hockey and sneakers, right? I mean, that's the biggest problem.
Right.
There's always also it's roller hockey. No, it's ball hockey. We play in sneakers. So we're out there running around. We got our sneakers on and we're playing hockey. So we can now, when we're trying to get people in the league or somebody is new to the league, we can just say, hey, watch these videos on YouTube. This is what we do. And it's even been good enough that we can say, all right, well, what division do you think you're in? Here's our upper division. Here's our lower division. Watch some of these games. And where do you think you fit in? Because a lot of times new guys will come to the league and we can't necessarily find out where they belong.
Right.
Some guys can't make it out to a pickup, or something like that. And some guys only want to play, league games. So it's like, well, if I don't know you, I don't know where you belong.
Right.
Watch this, figure out where you belong, and we can find a team for you.
Do you have any kind of open scrimmage or draft for those situations, or is it just kind of you put them on whatever team needs an extra guy?
Usually that we try to keep it fair, and before the season I ask all the teams like which guy, who needs guys this year or this season, and you can kind of base it on the previous year. So basically if a team didn't win any games the previous year, they're going to get any new players that come in or any good new players that come in, and it it just kind of works its way up. So we try to keep it as fair as possible for new players coming into the league, seeking us out. And then obviously the best way is word of mouth from players themselves. So when a player goes out and gets a guy, obviously they can just join their team because, you always want friends playing together. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Do you ever find people who've wildly overestimated their skills?
It happens way more often than you would think.
Yeah. Okay.
The telltale is always the email address, because if I have somebody that sends me an email from like biggest Canes fan ever or like biggest Ranger fan, at whatever.com, you're always like, oh, well, this guy must know hockey, right? And he must be good. and 9 times out of 10, those aren't the best guys that come into the league, Well, but we have a division for them. So
yeah. All right. Thank you.
Well done. And and speaking of your fine production and the rules and ins and outs of Raleigh Street Hockey, you do a great job giving all of that vital information on how players may join the Raleigh Street Hockey League on your website, as we just said, RaleighStreetHockey.com. And there's a brief video hosted by Mr. Daniel Wilson that explains it all very nicely. And for the ball hockey player listening now who may find him or herself in the Raleigh, North Carolina area, would you mind please telling us how we could sign up if we wanted to join the RSHL?
I mean, it's simple. You can go to our website. You can shoot us an email, or you can even just show up at our weekly pickup on Thursdays. Our pickup is open to everybody. You just show up, bring a white and black shirt. Don't ever bring a gray because you won't be allowed in. And then, that's what I try to get, or try to tell new players or guys that are coming into the league. Just, hey, come out to a pickup. We can assess where we think you belong. We can assess how you feel about the game. I want to make sure that you're committed to the game before I put you on a roster. So, come out. Let's make sure you're serious about this. Let's make sure you know all the rules and how we play before you go out and you cost the team a game because you didn't really understand the rules, So, or we put you in a division that you don't belong in.
Speaking of the rules, are there any special RSHL specific rule modifications that you have or kind of house rules that you use that aren't maybe generally accepted rules out of the ordinary?
I don't think so. I don't think we do anything that's really out of the ordinary. In fact, we really try to mimic the tournaments in the Northeast for consistency. That way, when we go elsewhere to play tournaments, we're already using the same rules. There's not much change. And then any people that are transplanting, that are becoming new to the league, they don't have to really learn any crazy new rules. So we do your standard 3 periods. We do 14-minute periods. We do a running clock till the last 3 minutes of the 3rd period. We play a center line offsides. We do icing just at the top of the face-off circles. And then equipment-wise, the rink we play in requires helmets. I know a lot of ball hockey players don't wear helmets for some reason. I've hit my head enough times to know that I should probably always have a helmet on, regardless if it's required. But then, we go with any form of shin guard or gloves. So, we've had guys out there with bicycle helmets on or lacrosse helmets. So, it doesn't necessarily have to be hockey equipment.
Sure.
You can have a lot of guys wear shin guards. They don't like the full hockey shin pads, knee coverage and all that. A lot of guys just use simple shin hockey pads, which is fine if you like getting hacked in the shins. Wear what you want. The rest of us guys like to be protected, so we try to wear full gear. But that's it. We don't require any elbow pads or face shields or anything like that. I mean, additional equipment is always up to you.
I've noticed in the videos there's usually at least one female player on the teams. Is that something that you require, or does it just work out that way? I know there's some leagues here in New York that do require at least one female player on every team.
No, we don't require that at all. We've been fortunate enough that a lot of females have been interested in playing in the league. And we've had a lot of really good players in the league, female, and it's been great. I have 2 daughters of my own. They love hockey. I can't wait till they can get old enough to get out there and play. I think it's a lot of fun. So, and it changed the dynamic too. I think it's good for the dynamic of playing hockey. It keeps some of these kind of macho guys calm down a little bit. You know what I mean? It kind of evens some of them out a little bit that need to be evened out. So, but I mean, some of these ladies are really good hockey players.
Good. That's great to hear. I mean, look, we're recording this during the Winter Olympics, and the women's American team has been, basically maybe not dominating, but they've been among the best teams in the tournament, and the men's team just lost to Slovenia. So, it really, gender is not any kind of guarantee of skill level. It shouldn't be.
And I enjoy the women's hockey more. I'm always watching the women's hockey.
Yeah.
I watch I've been closely following along to them. I think it's a lot of fun to watch the hockey. It's not, I watch NHL on a consistent basis, and, it can get kind of boring. They're always kind of running the same plays. They're always doing the same thing. You can kind of anticipate what's going to happen. But with the women's hockey, there's almost like a renewed passion for it. It feels like they're more passionate about it and they play harder. They got more to prove, I feel, even though they shouldn't. But, they seem like they have more to prove. So it's just, to me, it's refreshing to watch it. Yeah. And it's been especially fun to watch a team like USA, and even see a USA-Canada rivalry going straight through there, too.
Oh, yeah. That's a blood feud.
As a matter of fact, we have a alumni playing for the United Koreans women's ice hockey team at the Olympics this year. Randy Griffin, she's a local lady who played ice hockey in the area. She went up and played for Harvard. And then when she was down here, she played quite a few seasons with RSHL. She was actually on one of my Ironman teams. I was lucky enough to have her on there.
Nice.
Wow. Of course we won that one.
Sure.
Not to brag, but she held us.
Oh, that's incredible.
She carried us. But yeah, she was asked to play for the newly formed United Korea women's team. It's the first time United Korea has had an ice hockey team. I don't know if everybody's been following. And I mean, she's awesome. She has become part of their history, actually, because she scored United Korea's first ice hockey goal, and I believe only ice hockey goal at the Olympics. So she's been all over the local news. It's been great to see like the whole community embracing her and putting her up, and everybody cheering for her. I've been sending emails back and forth with her, telling her how great she's doing and how awesome it is that she's up there. She's a really talented hockey player, and she's an even better person. I mean, she's super nice, and she's a ice hockey coach too, so she's great to work with. She'll help you out. So yeah, she's hopefully she comes back to the RSHL sometime soon.
Yeah,
that's terrific. How do you know how she got recruited for that team? Yeah,
her mother is Korean, and then I guess just through some people that know people and people that know people, she got an email, and the story goes that she actually thought it was like a spam email. She thought it was fake the first time she got the email. She's like, No way, this is real. And she got recruited, and the rest is history.
Oh, good for her.
That's remarkable. Yeah, that is fantastic.
Yeah, I'll pull for her, for that team. That's an incredible story.
Yeah, really. All right, so that really is amazing. But getting back to the dreams do come true, folks, and deck hockey is a good means to get that way. That's remarkable. But the RSHL plays all of its games at the XL Sports World in Apex, North Carolina. Is that correct? Apex is the city?
That's correct. It's right below Raleigh. So, we're the Raleigh Street Hockey League. We started in Raleigh. Just so happened that the rink that we play full-time in is in Apex. So it's, 5-minute distance from Raleigh.
Okay, cool. Yeah, definitely close enough. And are there two rinks there, too? Two deck rinks, actually?
It's kind of a sore subject.
Oh, yeah?
I was hoping you weren't going to bring that up. We were spoiled with two rinks for the last 10 years we played there. The new ownership came in and decided this year to make one of the rinks into a multi-use facility court. So they kind of put some green stuff over it, and we're a self-running league. We rent the rink time, so unfortunately we didn't have much say in it. So where we used to be able to run two rinks on Sunday nights, we now have to kind of combine it all into one.
Yeah, and you're a nonprofit organization too, so the fees aren't expensive either for people looking to join the RSHL, and yeah, you guys just have to basically pay for the use of the rink and the referees and things like that. So that's pretty. Hopefully that doesn't hurt you too much, but sorry to hear about that.
Yeah, although I did notice they upgraded with some ceiling netting this season. There's looks like there's white nets running across the length of the rink surface. So when you get a puck up in the air, it's not like, you have to worry about, is it going to bounce off the ductwork or go? It just kind of bounces off the net. That's kind of cool. I haven't seen that before.
Yeah, I think that was more to protect their lighting that they put in. They put in some new lighting, and they decided to put some netting up on top of the ceiling. And honestly, it's not really a favorite with us. We used to have a lot of room there that we could kind of loop some passes. and kind of sky some balls and get some people running
sure.
and just hit them on the chase. But now that net gets in the way, it's a little bit lower. So we blow the ball dead, the play dead, if the ball hits the ceiling.
Okay.
If it hits the side nettings, we play on just to be able to keep the clock running. But the ceiling is kind of unpredictable, and it's fluffy, so it'll hit it and kind of slow it down, and it'll land in, strange places. So we decided just to keep it with what we were doing before and just blow it dead.
All right. Hey, can you do me a favor and explain how your traveling team, the Raleigh Thunder, works? I understand most of your games are played in the arena, the XL Sports World arena, but you said you have a traveling team, so how do those games work out?
It's more just we assemble some guys and then head to tournaments. We try to do more than one a year, but it's kind of whittled down to mainly one this year that we travel to. We go up to Pittsburgh and play in the Street Hockey USA tournament there in April. Occasionally, we've gone to Ocean City, the tournament in Ocean City. And then RSHL actually won maybe back in 2007 or so at the Sunshine Shootout in Tampa Bay. So, yeah, again, Brian Hooks runs that team. He does a really good job at it. We don't really do any games in the league. It's more just like we get, the best guys we can get from the league,
sure.
Guys who are willing to travel. We put a squad together and we try to just go out and represent Raleigh the best we can.
How many guys do you have on that team?
We usually bring a full team, so, it could be anywhere between 16, something like that. We try to bring like 4 lines and maybe 3 lines of D. With these tournaments, everybody gets hurt, so it's always good to bring a little extra than a little less. So,
actually, that's a good question that I should have asked earlier. Is there a cap to the number of players on each team in the RSHL, or is it just kind of you try and divide it evenly, or how does that work?
Yeah, actually, we at one point implemented the 18-player max roster.
Okay.
And that was to get a little bit more teams going. So, teams would kind of stack up on guys,
sure.
20-plus players on a team, which, was working out where, some people weren't having fun like that. Some people weren't having fun when you're playing, 4 lines hockey. So we tried to kind of whittle it down so everybody could have basically 3 lines up front, 4 to 5 defensemen and a goalie, and then, you can carry a couple extra guys that are kind of flaky that show up for half the season.
All right. Well, I know one roster that is very limited to 6 players is the roster for your upcoming Ironman tournament. So if you wouldn't mind explaining a little bit about your Ironman tournament and how that works, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, sure. We've been doing the Ironman tournament for about 8 years now, I want to say.
Okay.
So we basically started just a way to change things up. You want to play with some different guys, play a little different format, so you're not kind of doing the same old stale game, week in and week out. So what we do is we try to find out who's got the most energy and who's got the most legs. So what we do is we play a 5-on-5 with goalies, but there's no subs. So it's just you 5 out there on your team with your goalie, and that's it. And then to make it a little harder, we do no offsides, and that way, it's a running clock. We got a 12-minute running clock, but that's the whole game. So it's a 12-minute game running clock. So there's no time to stop. You're not going to get blown down for, too many offsides. And then, it makes it pretty interesting. One guy could be, one of your forwards could be technically behind the opposing goalie, behind the net. You can just be sitting there waiting for someone to loop a pass around to him. So it makes for some really fast play, a lot of fun. And we even do, if there's a penalty, we just do a penalty shot. We just get it out of the way. So, if you do a penalty, if you making a fraction on somebody, well, somebody's going to take a penalty shot and it could cost you. So, but it's been great. I mean, the tournament's gotten bigger every year. And even this year we have 16 teams. So I actually had to cap it off.
Oh, yeah.
Beforehand, and I had to turn some teams away. So I felt bad about that. But, there's only so much time we have, unfortunately, with one rink now. So if I had 2 rinks, I probably would have, plenty more teams to have that. But, it is what it is. We're dealing with that as we go here. But we actually got 5 teams coming from out of town this year. Our good friends from the Raleigh Street Hockey League, we always have tournaments with those guys. They're a lot of fun. They're bringing up some teams. We got Plainville Arena from Connecticut. They're another rink that has league, and they're bringing some guys down. We have a guy that plays in our league that used to play in that league, and he's got a bunch of buddies, so he's bringing them all down. So that's kind of the best part about it, is you can kind of set up these little random teams with all your friends. We actually have a guy from Canada who's coming down, a guy who's originally from Canada who moved down here. He's having this tournament. He called up his buddy. His buddy's flying down, and he's going to play too. Yeah, and then we got the guys from Eastern Shore Street Hockey League. They're coming from Virginia. And they got a great outdoor rink out there where they do all kinds of tournaments, and they have like a youth league and everything. They're really great out there. Let's see. And our friend of the pod, Jeremy Laws from Columbus. Yes. He was supposed to come down. We had been talking about it for a long time, and he was going to do it, but unfortunately the date didn't work for him and his guys.
Well.
He's got a lot of stuff he's doing up there, setting up the league. So
sure.
Unfortunately, but I know he'll be down, and he'll be down soon. So we're trying to get a tourney going in Greensboro in late July sometime, which is pretty close to Raleigh. So hopefully those guys will come out there.
So
yeah, you do it twice a year, correct?
No, it's annual. So we used to do it twice a year, but it got pretty hectic. So we decided to whittle it down to once a year, and then we've been doing kind of like a little summer tournament just to do something different too.
And that's this Sunday as we record, February 18th?
Yeah, actually. So we're all set up, ready to go this Sunday, February 18th. It's going to be a lot of fun. We usually do it every February. We try to do it every February. This is kind of the best time, it seems, after the holidays and everything. We got some great sponsors for the tournament that have helped out. They contribute to the prizes. We got a local sports bar called the Carolina Ale House, and they give us gift cards for all the winning teams.
Nice.
So everybody can go out and enjoy a couple beers after. We have Hagen Hockey. I don't know if you're aware of them, but Hagen Hockey is an awesome ball hockey equipment company out of Pittsburgh. The guy's basically redesigning equipment specifically for ball hockey. He's making some great stuff. We've been in contact with him, and he's been sponsoring the tournament, so he's sending down some. He's got these like really cool vintage, like Gretzky style looking helmets.
Nice.
For the MVPs. It says, Ironman tournament MVP, Hagen Hockey, RSHL. He's sending down gift cards for the MVP guys. I mean, it goes on. I got the guys from All Black Hockey Sticks. They're a big sponsor of the league and obviously a big sponsor of the tournament. They make great sticks. It's actually one of those things where like you find their product and you love their product so much that you start working with the company,
Sure.
So it's this guy Larry out of Michigan. He's a great guy. He basically just wanted to make some awesome sticks that were cheap, for everybody. So he's got these great one-piece carbon composite sticks. They're about 440 grams, and they're only $89, and they last forever. It's insane. So he's sending down some sticks and some swag so everybody can take a look at it. So it's just great. Like I said, it keeps getting better and better every year. We keep getting more teams from out of state and even further, even out of the country. People are starting to come down. So it's starting to gain a lot of traction. And I think it has a lot to do with the video. I mean, we record the tournaments and we put them up on YouTube, and guys can see and teams can see exactly how it's run. Because a lot of the problem with going out of state is you're wondering, well, do these guys know what they're doing? Are they running a fair tournament? Is it what we want to do? So, I mean, you can sit down and spend a few hours and watch some awesome hockey, and see that.
Yeah, no, and that run and gun style is pretty wild and woolly, and it makes for some great games. So I can see the appeal. And obviously this year's tournament is locked, but when do you open registration for next year's tournament?
We usually start in December.
Okay.
I'll usually send out an email to all the captains that were in there before. Some people start getting in touch with me before that time just to let me know that they're interested in playing and, making sure. So we usually set a date somewhere around December.
Okay.
And then, everybody can get signed up.
Neat. All right. So I guess that's great. We're looking forward to that. We are curious, though. Are these games going to be streamed at all, like during the tournament, or do we just have to wait until after when Daniel puts together the games package on YouTube?
No, we don't stream them live. We've talked about that, and we probably have the capability of doing that, but I mean, Daniel's post-production is perfect. So I would miss all that if we streamed it live,
Sure.
you know? I mean, just on the game of the week, he probably spends about 8 hours in post-production, editing and stuff like that. It's a real labor of love, and we're lucky to have him in the league, honestly.
It really shows too, and that's what we really appreciate about it. It's top-notch quality.
So let's just kind of finish up here. Are there any kind of war stories or great moments that you can share with us from the RSHL that like really kind of the best, awesome things that happened that you can think of that you can share with our listeners?
We could probably fill a whole nother podcast episode on just some of the war stories that we have. I mean, there's been some great dynasties over the years. We've had some teams that go on crazy runs. We've had some great rivalries. I mean, there's always, if there's two teams, sporting against each other, there's going to be a rivalry. So we've had our fair share of that. There's been some great upsets. I mean, just recently, there was some games that would seem out of reach to any normal hockey fan. You're talking like a 7-2 game in the third period. Mm-hmm. And teams will come back and they'll win in overtime. We've had teams that, the games where their whole team is Iron Man. They don't have any subs. They got 5 guys and they're playing against a team with, 16 guys, and somehow they'll blow them out of the water. It's some of these games that happen, and it's crazy. So that's what I think is part of the great part of ball hockey like this, is that, you never know what's going to happen. Any game, there's no, oh, this is definitely going to go this way or that way happening. It's always something new, something exciting.
Fantastic. The RSHL sounds like a league that I would like to play in. I won't speak for James, but,
I'm C division, so yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm C division. I don't know if I'm good enough for that.
No, but that's great. And if there are other people like James and myself who would like to play in your league, how can they reach you? How can you be found?
Oh, it's simple. We're just RaleighStreetHockeyLeague.com. Any search engine will take you to us. We're Raleigh Street Hockey on Facebook and on YouTube. I really suggest you just take a look and go back and do some back cataloging on YouTube. There's so many fun games on there. So many like instant classic championship games. Daniel always sets the mood on all those games. He'll tell you exactly where everybody is, exactly who the players to watch, who's been winning, who's been losing. He builds them all up. So it doesn't matter what game you start watching, you'll know what's going on. It's not just, oh, well, here you go. Here's some games to watch. He really sets the tone. He's a great commentator. Twitter, we're at Raleigh ST Hockey. We're always posting up whenever a video comes out. We'll post it up on Twitter, let everybody know it's out so you can check it out. And that's pretty much our main spots. Our guy Stan does a great job on Facebook. He keeps everybody posted on everything that's good. I'm not really a big Facebook guy, so like I said, we rely on other people to take care of certain aspects of it. Daniel's the YouTube guy, and so it's great. Aside from that, I mean, just like the sponsors I was telling you that we have, HagenHockey.com, great website for ball hockey gear. He's coming out with some goalie pads. They look pretty nice. I know you're a gear guy.
Yeah, well, we will check that out and we'll link it on our Facebook page. So thanks for the tip.
Yeah, no problem. Again, allblackhockeysticks.com. And then if you're in the area, check out Carolina Ale House. They help us out big time. They're very gracious. They even sponsor a team in our league. So I couldn't speak any more highly of them. And, the beer's always cold.
Nice. That's important.
Yes.
I just have one last question before we let you go. Since Daniel does all this stuff and he also plays in the league, is there any video that exists of him playing of games that he's in? Or is he just kind of the guy who plays in the shadows and films everyone else?
No, there's actually video of him because he's out there. So there's been some times where people will help commentating, and he's actually had to commentate some of his games a couple times. So I mean, what are you going to do? When you wear a bunch of different hats, sometimes you got to do it. But yeah, so I think he was the player to watch in that game too.
You know what? I'll say this. James and I have had to do that. We've had to commentate for at least one of our games on, we did it after the fact, but commentate on a game that we played in and we lost. So being objective in that situation it can be difficult. So, my mask is off to him.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
It's hard enough watching the games that you lose. I can't imagine having to commentate them after.
Well, so be it. That's it is the cross we choose to bear. So, James, is there anything else that you've got for Kevin?
No, I just sincere thanks, Kevin. You're a fantastic guest, and we really, really are impressed with your awesome league and everything, and the website and the YouTube. We sincerely mean that. And so thank you so much for everything, and best of luck with the Ironman and the league, and keep in touch. Anything we could do to help promote, we'd love to do so, and we're really impressed. So thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, if there's ever anything you'd like to drop in and talk about, you're welcome anytime on the podcast.
Oh, excellent. I really appreciate it. Again, it's not me, though. It's a big community of ball hockey guys in the RSHL. I try to tell them every season, after every season, hey, thank you so much. It's all about the guys that come out here and give their time. And it's even their families. Their families have to, put up with them going to the rink all the time. So
sure.
you need some pretty good people, supporting you in the background too. So, I mean, it's a great thanks to all the people that make this happen. It couldn't be what it is without them, honestly. I'm sure when we get the next tournaments coming up, I love to come back on and promote the tournament to hopefully get some more people from, all your viewership and or listenership, however you would call it. But thanks for what you guys do. It's phenomenal that you guys put out this podcast. I'm always looking out for new stuff on ball hockey and deck hockey, and coming upon this podcast where you guys are promoting everybody is phenomenal.
Well,
thank you so much. I appreciate being on here.
Thank you again. It's our pleasure, our sincere pleasure. And, good luck this weekend. Give them hell.
We'll try.
All right. Kevin, really good luck out there. And thank you again for being on the podcast. We sincerely appreciate it. And we wish you the best of luck with the Ironman tournament. We'll keep an eye out for the results on the YouTube channel. Keep up the good work, because I wasn't kidding when I said it on during the interview. I have been watching these a lot of these games, and just because I'm enjoying the competition. Like, the level of competition in some of these games is crazy. There was one game where one of the teams was down like 5-1 in the third, and you're like, oh yeah, this game is over. And then the one team comes roaring back, and suddenly it's 5-4 in the last minute with an empty net, and they're scrambling to try and tie it up. And it was really some of these games are really exciting. So, like, if you enjoy watching hockey, I would recommend checking out the RSHL YouTube page just to be entertained, because that Kevin was right. The level of excitement and fun that's happening, that Daniel brings to the play-by-play, and just the level of intensity of competition, it's great. It's just a lot of fun. And if you enjoy watching hockey, then you should check it out.
Yeah, really. And to paraphrase our wonderful friend, LeVar Burton, I wish he really was our friend, but just growing up with Reading Rainbow, I felt like he was my friend.
Coolant leak. I've got a coolant leak.
Right. Yeah. Jordy LaForge too.
Sorry. I thought I guess that wouldn't really make sense in.
Anyway, well, that's why LeVar Burton's one of the all-time coolest people ever. I mean, Reading Rainbow and Star Trek: The Next Generation, you can't top that. So anyway, you don't have to take our word for it, and you could go check it out yourself, the RSHL, and we'll definitely have links to the website and the YouTube page, and you guys could see for yourselves, because it's really top quality stuff.
You Raleigh should. See what I did there? Yeah, I deserve that. Yes.
Last minute remaining in the podcast.
Thank you, Pops. And thank you, of course, for listening to another episode of Hit the Deck. And a big thank you, possibly the biggest thank you, to Kevin Frost of the RSHL for being our guest on this episode of Hit the Deck. Kevin, I keep saying it, but it's worth mentioning again. It was a great interview, and we really appreciate your giving the time and the support to Hit the Deck. It's people like you that keep this sport vibrant and healthy and keep it growing. So keep up the good work out there, and we'll be pulling for you for a good tournament and beyond. Thank you. I said thank you, but I'll thank you again, Pops, for being the voice of the podcast. Thank you to Anthony Sajazi for music provided to the podcast. Thank you to the LIQ for sound effects used in this very podcast. And thank you to listeners just like you. In fact, you yourself, I thank for listening to the podcast. And I will also thank you to subscribe to the podcast if you like it. Subscribe on Apple Podcast or Stitcher or the Podbean app or any number of podcasting outlets that you like to get your podcasts from. And if we're not on that outlet, let us know and we'll try and get on there. We'll get all up ins that podcasting. And we also, since we've given so many shout outs to the RSHL YouTube channel, and rightly so, because they do good work over there. But, I think we do some decent work on our YouTube channel as well. And it would mean the world to us if you would subscribe to that YouTube channel. And, once we start bumping up our numbers over there, we can really start to do some great stuff. So let's make this a team effort and let's do this together. So I will ask you humbly to do that. James, is there anything I neglected to mention?
No, if you want to reach out to us, of course, we're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. The drill, Hit the Deck Pod on Twitter, Hit the Deck on Facebook and Instagram. And of course, email hitthedeck@gmail.com. And yes, thank you so much to Kevin for joining us tonight. Thank you to the RSHL for the plugs and for promoting the podcast. We appreciate that very much. And of course, thank you to Jeremy Laws for setting the whole thing up to begin with.
I love how you tell me that I haven't forgotten anything and then list off all the things that I've forgotten. So that's, way to pick me up there, James. I appreciate that.
You give me a reason to be here, so I appreciate that. So thank you. And happy birthday, by the way.
And to you. Happy anniversary, pal. I didn't get you anything, but I got you a new episode of the podcast. Mazel tov.
And I couldn't ask for anything better, so thank you so much.
Thank you, James. And honestly, I would like to leave you with this thought. Whether you are playing in a traveling team or whether you are an Iron Man, whether you are at a elite level or just learning the game for the first time, whatever you're doing, I would urge you always to remember it's deck hockey. Don't be that guy. Thanks, everybody. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm growling at you. Ah! 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 Hit the deck! It's hockey and sneakers! What is wrong with me? My wife, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, that's perfect.